Welcome everyone to today's Star Minerals Limited Investor Briefing webinar. It's a pleasure to have you with us. My name is Lucas Robinson from Investor Relations Consultancy Corporate Storytime. Star Minerals is an ASX-listed company pursuing the development of its Tumblegum South Gold Project in Western Australia, with a clear pathway to production and a strategy focused on delivering near-term cash flow and shareholder value. I'm delighted to be joined today by Ashley Jones, Managing Director of Star Minerals Limited. Ash will be walking us through the recently announced agreement with Catalyst Metals, including the toll treatment deal and strategic investment, and what it means for Star's pathway to production. Following Ash's presentation, we'll open the floor for a Q&A session. You're welcome to submit your questions at any time during the webinar via the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. If we're unable to address your question during the session, we'll follow up with responses after the webinar. So without further ado, I'm pleased to hand over to Ash, who's going to share a copy of his presentation.
Yeah, I'm going to take you through our journey, which I hope is going to be quite exciting. As the title says, from explorer to emerging near-term gold producer. Take you through the disclaimers, read them at your leisure. This has been posted on the ASX. As I said, the investment highlights. Near-term gold producer. We're on track to mobilise at least in Q1, pending our final approvals from government. And obviously, the biggest news we've had in the last week is signing a mill agreement with Catalyst Metals. We've got typically, we call it a high-grade resource because there's a lot of low-grade being processed out there at the moment, but 2.2 grams. Importantly, we've done a right to mine it and we're fully funded to right the way through with our mining partner. Gold price strength is wonderful. Today 7,400. Our scoping study was at 3,800. So you kind of do the math there. I think we're about $60 million above that in terms of potential revenue from our $3,800 pit, which was about 16,000 ounces. Our strategic partners, two really important ones. We've got Bain and Mega Resources, our right to mine partner. They've come in on market. So they came in on a placement at 4%. They've brought on market to almost 9.5%, 9.7%. I think been diluted a little bit. And then also we've got a new major shareholder coming on in terms of Catalyst Metals, and that was part of our right to mine agreement. So I'm not sure if you're interested there, but we'll take you through that transaction as we go forward. So we think we're on a path to re-rating. We've got a mine that's ready to go in Western Australia, and we've got plenty of chances to capitalise on this high gold price and make a really good win for this company this year. The board, as I say to people, there's 3 geologists and a mining engineer. There's for those in the mining industry, I'm sure they can make a joke out of it. But some serious credentials myself. Obviously, I got a mining, finance, and also business background. Ian Stewart's been a geologist, but been in the capital markets. A resource geologist there with Gemma Lee, really strong resource credentials, and a mining engineer to help us through this next stage of our development. Really good top 20 support. As I said, there's Bain out there with about 9.6%. That's our right to mine partner. We've got Jalen holding about 7%. We've got Catalyst coming on for 7% when the deal is completed there. So really important. Top 20 own about 55% and top 50 own about 72%. As I say, what a time to be in gold. Every day a tariff goes on, the price goes up, it seems, but that's the way we really just want to capitalise that for our shareholders. So 7,400 today it was this morning, 3,800 we made about $20 million. As I said, ASX rules won't let us tell you the absolute number, but there's another $60 million, just short of $60 million if you do the current price minus the 3,800. And so that's extra fat, what we're calling it at the moment, until we release a reserve. So pretty exciting there, pretty exciting time to be having near-term cash flow gold asset. So about our asset, you can see there on the right-hand side, this isn't a new place. This was mined in the 1990s by Dominion. It's called the Gavin-Inter pits, owned by Monument Mining. Our nearest pit is about 300 meters to the north of us. It's been processed through a CIL plant with cyanide leach before. It's been mined before. So, there's nothing that we believe that's any problems with that. And all our test work to date has shown it's going to be a very nice material to process. So it's 40 k's south of Meekatharra. We've got 45,000 ounces in resource. In the pit is only about 16,000 ounces coming out at the moment. We will re-optimize that, obviously, with the new gold price, lower cut-off grades, and it possibly could go quite a bit deeper. Our production target, as I said, was coming out, be mined over, it was 16,000 ounces. It'll be mined over 18 months. So it'll be 2 years to probably full rehabilitation on this site. Our capital requirement was quite low. Obviously, costs have gone up. There's no doubt about that. But we're now actually getting that funded in its entirety by Mega and Bain. And obviously, with that new deal, we've got a real springboard for cash and growth, having Catalyst and Mega on our shareholding registry. Quite important is the gold is there. There's no doubt about it. We did a program in July in 2025, just an infill program to bring some of our inferred up to indicated at the top end of the pit. 5 meters at 30, 5 meters at 10, 7 meters at 3.2. The gold's there. It's a matter of now going out there. We've actually gone back in there. Mega's jumped the gun on their agreement a little bit and gone and grade control drilled it. They started in December. They finished about 2 days ago, I believe. Just demobbing from site now. And then we've got a rig going up there. From our side, Mega's got all the responsibility within the pits areas. We're going to go up and I'm not sure if you can see my mouse, but drill this western area, which looks like a repeat of the structure. So we've got some really interesting shallow gold there from like 4 meters, 11 meters down. So we're going to see if we can get another small pit out there. So the idea is I've got everyone lined up. We go out there and drill it. If we can get those results back in the next 6 weeks, we'll have a team there to try and add it to our mining inventory in this next 18 months and get it, even if we can get another 5,000 ounces out of a shallow pit, it's really money well spent. So that's another exciting development that's going to happen very soon. This has been, I go back through our old presentations, and this is one of the biggest questions that are always been asked. Where are you going to process it? We started talking to Catalyst. It was what I call a natural deal. They wanted to expand their ground in the Briar Basin. We wanted a toll milling solution. They haven't done any other toll treatment agreements at all. I think I'm not sure what the reason why is for that, but we met with them. They wanted our asset. We wanted a solution. So they've given us very competitive rates. It's a bit of a quid pro quo kind of agreement. They got what they wanted. We got what we wanted. They're coming on the register as part of that deal. We think it's wonderful that they're on the register. It means we'll have a really good working relationship. It just gives them an insight, and it gives them a seat at the table, I suppose, to as a major shareholder to work well together. So I think that's really important. So they're also coming in a placement. As I said, that's at 7%. They get options as they progress and toll treat our ore. So that's another really strong relationship that we hope to leverage off. So really important deal, and it puts the answer that everybody's been going at me for the last 4 or 5 months is, where are you going to process it? Now I can say Plutonic Mine, Catalyst Metals. So what we've been doing for this last year, it's all about approvals. July, we put in our native vegetation clearance. That was the longest lead item, and it has proven to be totally correct. That's the last piece of the puzzle we're waiting for. August, we got all our environmental, our geotech in. Mining approvals went in September. We got our approvals for mining in December, almost just short of, I think it was 3 months after, 2.5 months after we put them in, we signed the right to a mine, which is that 50-50 profit share with Bain, and then we've commenced grade control drilling. So this year, we signed the toll treat agreement. We know where it's going to be processed. We're just waiting for that native vegetation clearance, and we're still ready to mobilise by the end of first quarter. It might be late March at this point, but hopefully that comes through very soon. I'll just touch on what Bain and Mega Resources means to us. You don't often get a partner that's willing to fund your operation. It takes out the risk for our shareholders. Some people say, well, you could have done it yourself. There's a couple of reasons why we didn't. Time was of the essence. Single project risk. You get one cyclonic event and one rain event, and you're sitting there, can't process or mine for a month, and that just sinks a small company. So they take that capital risk, that working capital risk, and fund us right the way through to cash flow. So that's really important. We give away something, but we didn't have to go and raise that money on the market. So really, really important for us, and takes the importance of it in an upward market of gold has been really valuable for us. What we have as well, we're actually working together on other projects, looking for new opportunities. We want to leverage off their ability and their desire to be a big miner in the WA mining space, or in Australia overall. So we're looking at different projects with them, again, leveraging off their ability to fund these projects. So watch this space. We're trying hard to use that relationship to the best of shareholders' benefit. So a nice pun in here, the near-term catalysts. We're going to be in production this year. We're going to be turning gold into revenue, cash flow into profit, and we should be there well into this year. We should be having some free cash flow. Strategic optionality. We've got two partners now coming in. We've got Mega and Bain, and we've got Catalyst. We talk about having a as we build this relationship with Catalyst, big companies always look at projects. Some may not suit them. They might be too small for them. We hope to have that working relationship with them, that maybe we can review some of those after they turn them down. So we see there's a big picture here. We've got production, money coming in. We've been in small market cap. We've got two really important people, shareholders coming in with being Bain and Mega and Catalyst Metals. So really important, and we see it as definitely a market re-rating as we move towards production. So that's our story, and I hope it wasn't too quick, but I think it's a great story to tell, and it's the right place at the right time for this company, Star Minerals.
One of the parties who is a registration is interested to know about any further exploration drilling plans at Tumblegum South.
As I said in the presentation, we're heading up there this week. Hope to have a rig on site this week. We're going to drill the western side. I see this as a great opportunity to, if we can get some shallow ounces, we can change our mine plan, do an adjustment with the department, and really, capitalise again on this high gold price environment. And we've done a lot of work to get this far. We know the importance of getting another 5,000 ounces would have on this project and value for our shareholders. So, it's going to be pretty exciting. Get up there, and it's only about 1,000 meters. It'll be done probably in a week, but we'll have a good idea whether we can get just an extension and another shallow pit on this mine. So yes, we're definitely mining back up there, drilling up there.
Next question: Star Minerals now have a toll treatment agreement with Catalyst. What will the transport cost per tonne of ore from the Tumblegum South project to the mill be? Taking into account these costs, what is the likely ore cut-off grade at current gold prices? I realise that can be a bit difficult for you to be precise.
Yeah, it is, and it runs a little bit into what the ASX. We haven't announced a reserve, so we can't put out cut-off grades and that. But to give you an idea, I suppose you know, our cut-off grade at the mining study was about 0.5 gram. So, you've got to think when you truck it and mill it, those are your two kind of marginal costs that you've got. So trucking is anywhere between 10 and 15 cents per tonne kilometre. So it's going to cost us $20 to $30 a tonne to get it to catalyst, and then milling costs on top of that. The gold price at the moment on today's count is $237, or so call it $230 per gram. So for every tonne you move, $30 is in transport. So you're really looking at 0.1 of a gram to 0.15 grams to transport your ore, and probably another 2.2 grams to treat it so you're still looking, believe it or not, probably just under that 0.5 grams per tonne, and that's probably the rule of thumb I've been hearing out there. To transport, you're still, it's costing you 0.5 gram of gold. So you need to be up to above that to cover your costs.
Some good reverse engineering there, Ash.
Yes, yeah, it's a tough one.
With Tumblegum South positioned to generate cash flow, how does Star plan to leverage that strength to secure its net strategic gold asset in what is a highly competitive market at the moment?
I think leverage is the right word. I think we're probably in a bit of a unique position to disrupt a little bit, because we've got a funder willing to back us and back themselves with their own cash, and I think that's probably quite important. I think we can leverage off Mega's desire to be a big mining contractor, and to do that, they've had to go out and purchase assets to get into that market. So we see there's leverage with our major shareholder to go and look at something bigger, and use their bank balance as such to help fund it, for obviously a share in the profits for both parties. But we'd have to make the call looking at the benefits to our shareholders, but we think there's definitely some leverage that we can help them with, and they can help us with to get into that next space. So, take that with the catalyst angle as well. I think, as I said, I think there's some leverage to have off a major player like that. So I think that's really exciting. So, it is a hard, mature market at the moment, and asset prices are only going up, but it's that's the risk, and that's the one. And I think if we go in with Bain or Mega Resources, we probably halve that risk, and we're not out there buying at the top of the market as such. We're letting somebody else take some of that risk for us.
Have you been given an expected time frame for the vegetation permit?
I didn't see an officer until just before Christmas. Those in the industry, they've actually sent out quite a few emails saying that's the longest lead item, as I mentioned at the start. It is with an officer now. It is going through the process. We got told by that officer we'll be given some feedback this week, and then so we're waiting for that feedback at the moment. So it is being delayed a little bit, but the best thing is it's with an officer. We're discussing it with them, and I don't see any problems except just going through the process at the moment. So that's where you are with approvals sometimes, and we're doing our best to get it through as soon as possible.
Couple more questions, Ash. You mentioned that you were looking for the next growth asset for Star Minerals. Can you give a bit of information on the criteria you're looking at in terms of size, commodity, and development?
Obviously, we're doing it in twofold. We're looking at something by ourselves, and we're looking for, in conjunction with Mega and Bain. So if we look at it in conjunction with Mega and Bain, they want to be a big mining contractor. So we're looking at bigger projects, near-term production assets. As you pointed out, mature market, top of the market at the moment, you'd be paying, but having that leverage could actually de-risk it for us. So copper, gold, reasonably good mine life. As I said, that suits Mega's requirements. So we're after anything that we can leverage off, and try and, as we're going into production now, we'd rather not go back into the real green fields at the moment, and try and progress those brownfields or near-term production assets.
This will be our last question at this point, Ash. If gold prices remain strong, the potential for significant cash coming into Star is very likely. Would you entertain the idea of paying dividends to shareholders?
Obviously, we'll leverage that up as a board in the best interest for our shareholders. If we find the right asset, we'd probably use that money to reinvest. If we don't find the right asset, then it could go back out to shareholders. But I think the board will try and make that best decision for shareholders. We'll have some strong shareholders on the register that will probably get a say at that. But I think the most important thing is we will do the best for shareholders, whether it be putting into an asset or delivering it back to them.
It's a pretty good note to end on. As always, if you have any further questions, please feel free to email us at info@corporatestorytime.com. Ash, before we close, do you have any final comments you'd like to share?
I think it's going to be a great year for Star Minerals. I'm really excited to get out there and see us mobilise and see that first gold poured at Catalyst.
Thanks for such a comprehensive update, Ash. This concludes today's webinar. A recording will be available shortly and shared through both Star Minerals and Corporate Storytime social media channels. On behalf of Star Minerals and Corporate Storytime, thank you all for joining us, and we look forward to welcoming you to our next investor briefing, and enjoy the rest of the day. Thanks very much, Ash.